lovelies, it is time for my March Wheel of TBR and my Spring into Reading-a-thon at TBR. So stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Wheel of TBR is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. And the way this one works is I spin the wheel a base of 5 times, and each time I put a mark on the slice it lands on. When I land on one, I do read whatever the prompt is. And if I get 5 marks on one line, I have to do a bonus spin. Hence the base spins, bonus spins. And there are some times that can add extra spins and some things that can take away spins, but we'll only get into those if need be. Okay, so I have a lot of catching up to do with you, because when I did my February Wheel of TBR, I couldn't tell you anything about what I had done in January because I was filming that February TBR while I was still towards the beginning of January because I was going out of town. I think it might have even been around the end of December when I was filming that. So I hadn't read anything. It was the very beginning of the month, if anything. So now I'm going to have to tell you how I've done and take whatever punishments are deemed necessary for that. So I had a few rollovers. We had A Monster Calls. Still haven't read it. Rolling that one over. Chain of Iron. Again, haven't read it. Rolling it over. Dishonestly Yours. Still haven't found that one to continue reading it. I'm going to be rolling it over. Nomona, I actually just recently found that and put it on my shelves. And I will be rolling that one over as well. Then we had my January spin. So the first one was for Ugly Cover. And for that one, I selected What Kind of Paradise by Janelle Brown. And I have read it and actually really, really enjoyed it. For the next prompt, it was Retelling. And for that one, it was Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal by Megan Quinn. And I did read it. Also loved that one. Next was Hoopla. And for that, I had The Cursed by Harper L. Woods. I have not read this one. However, I do think I might be able to get to it. So I'm going to just roll that one over and not take a punishment spin for that. Next was Smutty. For that, I selected Neon Gods by Katie Robert. And I'm currently reading that one. So it'll definitely get finished in February. Next was nonfiction. For that, I selected The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, and I did read that. Next was beach setting, and I selected The Love Haters by Catherine Center, and I have not read that one, and I don't think I'm going to roll it over because I do have other ones that I'm going to be rolling over if I don't finish them in February. So this one I'm going to take a punishment spin for. So let me get my marker. Okay, so we have a few danger zones on here already. Let's see, Fairy has 4 marks on it. You can ignore the white ones for now until I find my prompts that are somewhere packed up. I've just been writing them on here. So we have Fairy has 4 marks. One Word Title has 4. And Buzzword has 4. So let's spin and see what we get. Now, I'm not picking a book for this. I'm just figuring out where a mark goes and if I have to get a bonus spin. Okay, so that landed on One Word Title. So now it'll be 6 spins I have to do. Okay, so I've erased that. Okay, next I had a bonus spin in January. Actually, I had 2. So the first bonus spin was a 4+ word title. For that, I selected Destination Weddings and Other Disasters, and I did read that. Also really enjoyed it. For bonus spin number 2, I got Libby. And for that, I had Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. And I think this is one that I'm going to roll over if I don't get to it this month. So only the one punishment spin for January. And for February. Okay, so for the first spin, I had Different Country. And for that, I selected What Alice Forgot by Leanne Moriarty. And I have not read it. And I don't know that I'm going to get to that one because I have quite a few that I'm still going to try to do this month and possibly roll over. So I've decided to take punishment spin for that one. So let's see what we get. And that one's Scroll Goodreads. There's only 2 on there. So now we have 3. Then for the second spin, I got Thriller, and that was to read Bring Her Home by David Bell. I have not read that one, and I'm not going to roll it over. Same reasons. So taking a punishment spin for that. And landed on the same thing. Okay, so now we have another danger zone here. Okay, for spin number 3, that was Supernatural, and for that I selected Deity by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and that's one, if I don't get to it this month, I will be rolling it over. Next was Romance, and I selected The Secret Crush Book Club by Carmen Lee. That's another one, if I don't get to it this month, I will be rolling it over. And then for LGBT, I selected Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellafleur. And that's another one that if I don't get to it this month, I'll be rolling it over. So only the 2 punishment spins for February. Okay, so I have to do 6 base spins now because we had the one added on. And I differentiate base spins from bonus spins because when I do bonus spins, I don't mark on them. But the ones that were punishment, they add to my base spins. So I will be marking on all 6 of those spins. So I am participating in quite a bit this month. First off, I have my coffee patrons, my buddy read and my required read that my book buddy of the month, Lizzie, has selected. So for our buddy read, my coffee patrons and I will be reading By the Book by Jasmine Galori. And then my required read for the month is Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. That is the 3rd book in the Assistant to the Villain series, which I'm very excited for because I really enjoyed the first 2. I will also be participating in Buzzword and, of course, my own TBR Knockout. If you haven't seen that announcement, I'll link it up here. And then, of course, Spring in a Reading-a-thon. And if you haven't seen that announcement, I'll also link that up here for you to go and check out. You should definitely join us. It runs the whole month of March. So I'm going to have a lot of things I need to try to fit in. And hopefully with whatever I spend, I'll be able to get at least one bingo on the bingo board. Okay, so let's get started with spin number 1. Book outlet. Ooh. Okay, I'm actually going to have to go back and look at one of my book outlet hauls because it's been a minute. I don't know which books came from book outlet and which ones didn't. So I'll be right back and I'll let you know. Okay, so I just pulled up my most recent book outlet haul. If you want to see that, I'll link that up here. It's actually been a minute since I've done one. But the very first book that I mentioned in that haul is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. So that's the one that I'm going to go with. Okay, so since I don't have my bag of these prompts unpacked yet, I do have a spinner wheel here that we can use to figure out which prompt is going to be replacing that. So let's see. Historical. Okay, so first off, let me put a mark here. And I will erase book outlet and replace it with historical. All right, spin number 2. Classic. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I'm looking at my shelves right now to see what might work for classic. Give me a minute because I can't see enough books. Okay, I can't easily find one, but I know that there's one that I had on my TBR not that long ago, and I never got around to reading it, and that was Lord of the Flies. So that's what I'm going to select for this one. Okay, so let's put a mark on that, which makes this one a danger zone because there's now 4 marks. And let's see what we're going to replace classic with. New author. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to erase, I just dropped my pen, erase classic and replace it with new author. All right, spin number 3. Historical. Okay, I am definitely getting things that are quite a bit out of my normal comfort zone. I do think I saw a historical on my shelves though. So let me grab that. I just realized I should probably have told you about the other books. So let me do that really quick and then I'll tell you about the book I just selected. Okay, so I pulled up Tress of the Emerald Sea on Goodreads here. So it's a standalone, and it says the only life Tress is known on her island home in an emerald green ocean has been the simple one, with the simple pleasures of collecting cups brought by sailors from faraway lands and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. But when his father takes him on a voyage to find a bride and disaster strikes, Tress must stow away on a ship and seek the sorceress of the deadly midnight sea. Amid the spore oceans where pirates abound, can Tress leave her simple life behind and make her own place, sailing a sea where a single drop of water can mean instant death. And it says it's for everyone who loved The Princess Bride. And then Lord of the Flies is by William Golding. And it says, at the dawn of the next world war, a plane crashes on an uncharted island, stranding a group of schoolboys. At first, with no adult supervision, their freedom is something to celebrate. This far from civilization, the boys can do anything they want. Anything. They attempt to forge their own society, failing, however, in the face of terror, sin, and evil. And as order collapses, as strange howls echo in the night, as terror begins its reign, the hope of adventure seems as far from reality as the hope of being rescued. Labeled a parable, an allegory, a myth, a morality tale, a parody, a political treatise, even a vision of the apocalypse, Lord of the Flies is perhaps our most memorable novel about the end of innocence and the darkness of man's heart. And I have a hair or something attaching itself to my eyelashes. Okay. And then for historical, I selected Is It Night or Day? And this is based on true events by Fern Schumer Chapman. This says, how could we leave the only world we had ever known? Parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and cousins all were holding hands, clinging to one another as if they'd never let go. It's 1938, and 12-year-old Edith is about to move from the tiny German village she's lived in all her life to a place that seems as foreign as the moon, Chicago, Illinois. And she will be doing it all alone. This dramatic and chilling novel about one girl's escape from Hitler's Germany was inspired by the experiences of the author's mother, one of 1,200 children rescued by Americans as part of the 1,000 Children Project. So this is what I will be reading for historical. Okay, let's put a mark there, which gives us 3. And then get my wheel here. Nonfiction. Okay, I'll be replacing historical with nonfiction. Okay, spin number 4. Buzzword, and that's a bonus spin. Okay, so let's look at Buzzword. So we have Buzzword title or Buzzword cover. I don't know that I have a book already selected for the title, which is something that has this, that, these, or those in the title. So let me look. Instead of going through my shelves, I'm going to look on my Goodreads shelves and just type in those words and see what I can find. Okay, so I found one, and this is one I've been meaning to read. I do need to find it. It's still packed up. Or I can maybe find an audiobook or an ebook of it. But it's This Winter by Alice Oseman. This is like first, it's kind of more of like a novella in the Solitaire series, which I believe Heartstopper, I think, falls into that series. I could be wrong. Or in that universe. But this is a good selection because it looks like it's only 102 pages. Okay, so as I said, that gives us a bonus spin because there are 4 marks on there, so I need to erase those. And I'll go ahead and erase Buzzword as well. So we will have our 6 base spins plus 1 bonus spin. Okay, let's see what we will replace that with. Random number. I think for random, I just dropped the eraser out of this. I think for random number, what was I doing for that? I don't know. Oh, maybe I'll do like a random number and then find that on my Goodreads. Okay, spin number 5. Friend group. So that's a book with a friend group. That'll work for something, I think, for spring and a reading-a-thon too. Let's see. In the Discord for season-a-thon, lots of people are putting their TBRs up already. And the prompt, Love is in the Air, that's to read a romance or a book centered around friendship. So let me see. I'm only seeing romance. Okay, let me go look at my shelves. Okay, so this is the first thing I saw on my shelves that was like, okay, I bet there's something about friends in this, and there is. So that is The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. And this pretty much is a friendship between Ivan the gorilla and Ruby, a baby elephant. This says, Ivan is an easygoing gorilla living in a shopping mall. He has grown accustomed to humans watching him through the glass walls of his domain. He rarely misses his life in the jungle. In fact, he hardly ever thinks about it at all. Instead, Ivan thinks about TV shows he's seen, his friends Stella and Bob, and painting. Then he meets Ruby, a baby elephant taken from her family, and she makes Ivan see their home and his own art through new eyes. When Ruby arrives, change comes with her, and it's up to Ivan to make it a change for the better. So this is what I'm going to select for friend group. I also realized I didn't tell you about This Winter, so let me tell you what that says. A short story based on characters from Solitaire. I used to think that difficult was better than boring, but I know better now. I'm not going to think about the past few months, about Charlie and me, and all of the sad. I'm going to block it all out, just for today. Happy Christmas, I say. The festive season isn't always happy for Tori and her brother Charlie, and this year's going to be harder than most. Okay, so The One and Only Ivan for friend group. This video is just all over the place and chaos. Okay, let's mark that, which makes this one a danger zone with 4 marks on it now. And let's see what we're going to replace friend group with. If I can push the button. Royalty. Let me make sure I don't have that anywhere else on here already. I do not. All right, spin number 6. This is our final base spin. The last one we can get a bonus spin for. Okay, so I got random number. Not going to get a bonus spin. I will go ahead and put a mark on there. Gives us 1. Okay, so let me pull up my owned TBR on Goodreads. In my own TBR list on Goodreads, I have 1,513 books, which this thing is so not updated. I haven't put my books in there in quite some time. But let's generate between 1 and 1513 and see which book it is. 1033. Okay. Okay, I am confused because when I'm looking at these, I put them in order by the number, but it's only showing to 151. But there's like 4 that are 151 and a whole lot more than that are 150. The numbers start out right. Okay, so what I decided to do is just show 100 on each page, regardless of whatever the number is, which means I would need to go to the 10th page. No, the 11th page. Oh, now the numbers seem to be doing right. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Don't know why it's being weird. Okay, I'm dumb. You know how I said there's like 4 that was 151? That was 1,510, 11, 12, and 13. The box was just too small. Yeah, I'm dumb. Okay, so 1033 is Shout by Lori Halse Anderson. And this says a searing poetic memoir and call to action from the best-selling and award-winning author of Speak, Lori Halse Anderson. Lori Halse Anderson is known for the unflinching way she writes about and advocates for survivors of sexual assault. Now inspired by her fans and enraged by how little in our culture has changed since her groundbreaking novel Speak was first published 20 years ago, she's written a poetry memoir that is as vulnerable as it is rallying, as timely as it is timeless. In free verse, Anderson shares reflections, rants, and calls to action woven between deeply personal stories from her life that she's never written about before. Searing and soul-searching, this important memoir is a denouncement of our society's failures and a love letter to all the people with the courage to say #MeToo and #TimesUp. Whether aloud online or in their own hearts, Shout speaks truth to power in a loud, clear voice, and once you hear it, it's impossible to ignore. So that is what I'm going to read for random number. Oh, I already marked that. I don't need to mark it again. All right, let me get my wheel here. 4+ word title. Okay, now for spin number 5. Or not 5. Wow, I am all over the place. Now for the bonus spin, and I will not be marking for this one, but I will still change out the prompt. All right, here we go. Scroll Goodreads. Okay. Here, let me turn my camera and face towards the screen so you can see what I scroll. Okay, so we're scrolling to the first book that I own that I would like to read. Do I own this book? No, I think I've just seen it a lot. I guess I should look for one that's either, we'll say something that's marked as want to read or that I know I own. I'm pretty sure I own this book. Okay, I do own The Housemaid's Secret. However, that is book 2 in the series, and I haven't read book 1. So I'm going to go with book 1, which is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This says, "Welcome to the family," Nina Winchester says as I shake her elegant manicured hand. I smile politely, gazing around the marble hallway. Working here is my last chance to start fresh. I can pretend to be whoever I like. But I'll soon learn that the Winchesters' secrets are far more dangerous than my own. Every day I clean the Winchesters' beautiful house top to bottom. I pick up their daughter from school and I cook a delicious meal for the whole family before heading up to eat alone in my tiny room on the top floor. I try to ignore how Nina makes a mess just to watch me clean it up, how she tells strange lies about her own daughter, and how her husband Andrew seems more broken every day. But as I look into Andrew's handsome brown eyes, so full of pain, it's hard not to imagine what it would be like to live Nina's life. the walk-in closet, the fancy car, the perfect husband. I try on one of Nina's pristine white dresses once just to see what it's like, but she soon finds out, and by the time I realize my attic bedroom door only locks from the outside, it's far too late. But I reassure myself the Winchesters don't know who I really am. They don't know what I'm capable of. Fine. Okay, now I need to see what I'm going to replace Scroll Goodreads with. I'm glad I wasn't marking on that one because that would have been another bonus spin. Retelling. Let me make sure I don't already have that on here. I do not. Okay, so we're ending with a few bonus, not a few bonus spins. We're ending with a few danger zones. So retelling, new author, royalty, and fairy. 4 danger zones for next time. Okay, give me a minute and I will figure out my TBR for TBR Knockout, Buzzword, and Spring in a Reading-a-thon, and I'll be right back. Okay, that took a minute. All right, let's start with the smaller things first. So for Buzzword title, I had to pick a book that was this, that, these, or those, and for that I selected This Winter. And for the cover, it's supposed to be a book that shows action or movement. And so originally I was picking this based off of the cover that I saw on Goodreads, not thinking about the cover that I actually own. So I selected Tress of the Emerald Sea because you can see like her hair's blowing in the wind, her ribbons blowing in the wind. There's like stardust or something. My cover is different, but you can still see like her braid is moving. So I don't know if this would actually count. But another book that I selected for a different thing does have like petals falling. That's Tokyo Ever After. See like petals falling. So that would work as well. Okay, for TBR Knockout, the theme is New Beginnings. So for TBR Knockout, you're given 2 prompts. You can either choose to do one of the 2 prompts, or you can pick do both prompts and you can pick a book for each, or you can pick a book that combines. And I ended up picking a book for each. So the first prompt is a debut novel. For that, I selected, where did it go? One of the books that I'm rolling over, Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellafleur. And then the second prompt is read a book that involves starting over. And for that, I'll be reading Is It Night or Day by Fern Schumer Chapman, because this little girl's starting over in a whole different country. And then for the Spring into Reading-a-thon bingo board. So if I succeed, I will get a complete blackout here. So let's start across the top. So Spring Cleaning. That is a book that's been collecting dust on your shelves. For that, I selected Is It Night or Day? I've had this for quite some time. For New Beginnings, that's the first book in a series. I selected Written in the Stars. Oh, wait. I'm missing something for Total Blackout. I don't have anything for Wet T-shirt contest at this point. Hold on. I don't know that I'm actually going to get a Total Blackout, but it's nice to have a book for everything, just in case. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and select Electric Idol, which is the next book in the Dark Olympus series after Neon Gods, and put that for my smutty read. Okay, and then for Road Trip, that's to listen to an audiobook. I have the audiobook for Written in the Stars. Let It Shine, a book that like cozy, or a book you think will make you happy. And for that, I'm going to go with The One and Only Ivan. For Holly Festival, I could go with, because it's a book that's either by an Indian author or has a bunch of colors on the cover. And instead of adding another book, I tried to find ones that have the most color. And at the time when I was selecting, it was Written in the Stars, because most of it's blue, but there are a lot of colors here. And then for spring fashion, that's a book with a beautiful cover. Again, I was basing this off of the Goodreads one. I think it's a prettier cover than this, but I selected Tress of the Emerald Sea. For Rewind, I selected Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. For Vernal Equinox, that's a symmetrical book. I'm going with The Housemaid. Luck of the Irish, a book with green on the cover. Tress. New Life, that's a debut novel. And for that, Written in the Stars. The group book, let me grab that. Delilah Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I guess this would also work for lots of different colors because there's quite a few colors in there. Spring Forward, that's the read a next book in a series. For that, I'll be doing Accomplice to the Villain. For Love is in the Air, Delilah Doesn't Care. Over the Rainbow is a retelling or a classic, and for that, Lord of the Flies. Spring Break is a YA or new adult book, and I think I'm just going to go with This Winter because I'm pretty sure that's YA. Do Away with Racism, that's to read a book like from a different diversity than you, and for that I did have to add another book, so I'll be reading Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jin. For Women's March, that's to read a book with a strong female protagonist. And for that, I've got Is It Night or Day because this little girl's got to be so strong. For Cherry Blossoms, that's to read a book by a Japanese or Japanese American author. And for that, Tokyo Ever After. Aries is to read a book based on an Aries trait. And my initial thought is a short book. So I had two options. We have Is It Night or Day? This is only like 202 pages. And then also The One and Only Ivan. This is 313 pages, but there are several pages. Like, the pages look like this. There's not a huge amount. And there's also like a lot of art throughout. So this would be a very quick read. So out of the two, I decided because I was going with something like Aries, and Xander is an Aries, my son, and that kid has got the biggest heart. Like, he is the sweetest, kindest, just, he is a cinnamon roll. And I feel like this book is going to have like a lot of heart to it. And yeah. So I decided to go with The One and Only Ivan for this one. And then Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Read a book with flowers on the cover. And Delilah Doesn't Care. She's got flower tattoos. And there's flowers like on a bush here. And then also Tokyo Ever After. There are flowers on the cover. Another one that would have worked, I guess, for the Aries one is Written in the Stars because it actually has like the constellations and stuff. I'm not sure if the Aries constellation is on there or not, but that would be kind of cool. Okay, what else we got? March Madness, a book with sports. For that, I'm going with Deep End by Ali Hazelwood because it's like a swim competition, or there's swim competitors. And that's everything except for the non-reading prompts. So I did end up adding a couple more books to my TBR and a few that I was planning on trying to read or, if needed, roll over. There's a couple that are definitely being rolled over, such as Deep End and Written in the Stars. But it's not a terrible TBR overall. I'm pretty happy with it. Fingers crossed I can get a lot read. I'm going to actually be home most of the month for March. So hopefully I'll be very successful. We'll see. So what are you planning on reading for March? And have you read any of these books? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!